All right, today we are going to talk about how to take a fraction and turn it into a decimal. So we're going to work it all out using this first example, 1/2. So if you want to take notes along with us in your journal, that would be a fantastic idea. Just go to your next available page and get started. So if I have 1/2, a fraction, and I want to change that to a decimal, my only step is divide. That's it. But if you're looking at 1/2 and you're like, well, what do I divide? Where do I start? What does that mean? It means that you take your numerator and your denominator, and here's your hint, you divide like that. So you take your numerator and you put it inside your division house and your denominator stays outside. So what that looks like is numerator inside, denominator outside. Sometimes I have a hard time remembering what goes where, and I have this fun little story about how there's this nerd and he's got a donkey, and obviously the donkey does not ride the nerd rides the donkey. That's how this works. He's a really cool nerd and he has a donkey and he rides it on his spare time. And at the end of the day, when they're done with their ride and they go back home, who gets to go inside the house? Well, here's the house. The nerd gets to go inside, but the donkey has to stay outside because I don't know a donkey personally, but I imagine that a donkey would do really bad things like eat curtains and make a mess on the carpet and try to eat things that it's not allowed to eat. So the donkey has to stay outside. All right, so hopefully that'll help you remember who stays inside the house and who stays outside the house. And now we start dividing, which is like almost just as like confusing, because now you're looking here and you're saying, great, 2 goes into 1 0 times. But how does that really help me? And then this is where I want you to remember what we were doing. We had a fraction and we want to make it into a decimal. So I want you to think about this. Is 1 the same thing as 1.00? Think about money. This is $1 and this is 1 whole. Are these two numbers the same thing? They are. So here I can take this 1 and I can add a decimal and a 0. I could add 2 zeros if I want, but I only need 1 0 right now. And that's the same number it was before. I didn't change anything. I just made it look fancier, but I didn't change anything. And then every single time you add a decimal to a problem, you actually have to also put that decimal up top. So you're going to kind of make this like kind of like one of those faces that go like that, but it's just kind of the one eyeball is kind of like, really far up there. But all right, so now you're asking yourself, how many times does 2 go into 10? And the answer is 5 times. 5 times 2, 10. Do your subtraction, and there you go. So we just found out that 1/2 is equivalent to 0.5. And hopefully in your head this makes a little bit of sense, because you've thought of like half of $1 being the same as 50 cents, and this could have, an imaginary 0 behind it like 50 cents would. So there you go. That's our first example. And the second one is going to be